As we get closer and closer to the impending launch of Sony Interactive Entertainment's next generation platform, the PlayStation 5, I thought now would be a pretty good time to take a look back and reflect on some of the great exclusive games that helped make the PlayStation 4 the massive success it has become. With that being said, if you happen to be watching this video after the launch of PlayStation 5, my fellow time travelers out there, the good news is that thanks to the system's native backwards compatibility with majority, if not all, of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR titles, is that if you see a game or two or all of them that you like on this list and you want to play them, simply buy the disc or the download code, install them onto your system, and start playing. It's that easy. And just so we're all on the same page going into this video, every single game within this video that's listed is simply placed in alphabetical order from beginning to end to avoid any kind of ranking system or divisiveness within the comments section. So with that one thing being said, let's begin. Bloodborne by From Software. Their 2015 hit carried on the tradition of many games that came before it, being highly difficult. This action role-playing game constantly has players on the offense in order to combat the dense hordes of bestial creatures that have taken over the city of Yharnam. Unfortunately for you, you must do all of this at night. With up to 3 possible endings, an intense combat system, and even an optional multiplayer support, do you have what it takes to escape this nightmare? And if so, how does the story end for you? Concrete Genie by Pixelopus. In this game, you play as a young artist named Ash who loves to draw. One day he is confronted by a local group of bullies who steal his notebook and rip the pages away from it. During his travels to find all of the pages, he is gifted with a magical paintbrush, giving Ash the ability to bring his drawings and paintings to life. In addition, Ash's small town of Denska has been polluted and nearly abandoned. With the power of Ash's creativity and his brush, hopefully he can bring some color and life back into his hometown.
Hello? Whoa. Hey! Over here!
To paint this whole town back to life.
Detroit Become Human by Quantic Dream.
This is where it all began.
Their PlayStation 4 console exclusive focuses around 3 central characters from different perspectives, all taking place within the same world. Marcus, a deviant android fighting for the rights of other androids, Kara, a housekeeper android who is in less than an optimal environment, and Connor, an android who assists as an investigator for the police department in the attempt to find and neutralize deviant androids. Throughout the course of this game, you will have to choose the routes in which you want to take each of these 3 characters. For example, Marcus will take on either a peaceful or violent revolution, which each ultimately has different outcomes. Kara, who is attempting to flee from the US to Canada for the sake of her and her party's safety. And finally, Connor, who he himself can potentially become a deviant. The choices and consequences ultimately fall on you, the player.
I could take you there. Strike out! Go! See this!
My name is Kara.
My name is Connor.
My name is Marcus.
This is our story.
Dreams by Media Molecule.
Dream.
This developer has a long-standing track record of bringing very unique and enjoyable games to the PlayStation family of platforms, and Dreams continues on that legacy. While the game itself has no centralized plot, each individual creation within the Dreams universe can, depending on how it's created. And that's the brilliance of this game. People can create almost anything using the game's creation tools, and the results are simply incredible when properly utilized. What it comes down to is each player is only limited by their own creative skills and the imaginations and are free to run wild. Some of the things I have seen people create within this game have been mind-blowing, and even if you aren't the most creative type, you can still have fun simply by playing through other people's creations. And that is the beauty of Dreams. Ghost of Tsushima by Sucker Punch Productions. This particular developer laid low for quite a while after the launch of infamous Second Son and infamous First Light many years ago, and throughout that time I was left wondering what they had been up to. Little did I know they were working on something as grand as this. In this game you play as Jin Sakai, a samurai attempting to stop a Mongolian invasion from taking over the island of Tsushima. Jin will have to learn many new skills from many different allies from across the land if he has any hope of fending off the impending invasion. But at what ultimate cost? Well, you're just going to have to play to find out. But for what it's worth, I will say here that Ghost of Tsushima has been recognized for having some of the most beautiful visuals of any PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 4 Pro title. God of War by Santa Monica Studio. Cory Barlog's reboot of the God of War franchise was frankly a very risky move, especially considering the decline that the franchise was in. However, it ultimately paid off tremendously. From the very first showing at E3 to its eventual launch, Kratos and Atreus' latest adventure on the PlayStation 4 proved to be a massive hit amongst critics and users. While the games in this franchise up to this point were heavily based on and inspired by Greek mythology, this title begins the transition into a realm based off of Nordic mythology. In fact, this game takes place in the realm of Midgard. Enjoy the new story, beautiful visuals, and travel through a new world never once seen before in God of War, and once you complete the game, I think you'll be left hungry for more.
It is time! I will bring it down! You will kill it!
Gravity Rush 2 by Japan Studio. This game is one of the more, if not the most, niche titles on the PlayStation 4 system as far as AAA style games are concerned. While this franchise got its start on the PlayStation Vita, its sequel only expanded on the gameplay and lore on the PlayStation 4. You play once again as Cat and Raven, moving gravity to your whim to save the world of Hexville once again. And you will visit new worlds that need the help of your gravity-shifting heroines. The visuals and sounds are pretty unique to this franchise, and they were a big draw for me personally. If you're looking for a game that's quite a bit different than the rest, why don't you give this one a go? Horizon Zero Dawn by Guerrilla. For years, Guerrilla was known by many as that Killzone developer, and I myself associated them with Killzone, and that's pretty much it. Until I played this masterpiece of a title. The graphical fidelity, the amazing story, the beautiful soundtrack, voice actors, character development, the plot twists, everything about this game from beginning to end is just a masterclass of craft. But my opinion aside, in this open world game you play as Aloy, a motherless child in a world where mankind has gone back to a tribalistic setting, yet coexists with what appears to be man-made machines created beyond any of the capabilities of the people living there. So the question becomes, what exactly is going on? As you explore, you will hear tell of the Old Ones, who lived before and fell, yet nobody truly knows what happened and where these machines eventually came from. So Aloy will embark on an adventure to unlock the truth. and what an adventure it is. Infamous Second Son and Infamous First Light by Sucker Punch Productions. The story in the main portion of the game focuses on Delson's experience of becoming a conduit, his ability to wield other conduit's abilities and use them to fight against the DUP, or Department of Unified Protection. Two things that stood out to me when I played this game are the excellent character development, especially when you take the hero route of the story, and the amazing visuals and particle effects this game has. The city of Seattle looks amazing. The particle effects related to Delson's powers really took my breath away many years ago. And even to this day, really look spectacular to the eyes. Definitely a highlight of the PlayStation 4. In addition, Infamous First Light is DLC, focusing on another protagonist from the game, Abigail Walker, a conduit whose power focuses primarily on neon. While the DLC is short, it tells the tale of Abigail's experiences with the DUP and how she found her way into Infamous Second Son's storyline. Between this game and the DLC, you certainly can't go wrong with either of them. Killzone Shadowfall by Guerrilla. Their first title for the PlayStation 4 may not have been a perfect critical hit, but there was one thing that it certainly had going for it amongst many people out there, and that was its visuals. You see, this particular game was one of the few launch titles for the PlayStation 4, and for its time it really showed off the potential power of the system. Even to this day, it holds its own up against games like The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and even Uncharted. And while visuals themselves don't make the games, for a launch title, this particular game showed many players what lies under the hood for the PlayStation 4 when it's properly utilized. Marvel's SpiderMan by Insomniac Games. This game is just one of those titles that, at least for me, came out of nowhere and blew me away. The storytelling is fantastic, the voice actors amazing, the visuals drop dead gorgeous and some of the best we've seen as of late on the console. Its photo mode is truly a blast to play around with, and when you properly take a picture, it's hard to believe that they came from a video game. The gameplay set the standard for what a Spider-Man game should be like, and after years of sequels from Activision, it's nice to see Spider-Man get that special kind of treatment that only a first-party studio could deliver on. This game is a must-play from start to finish, and once you complete it, you will want to go back, buy the DLC if you didn't buy the Game of the Year edition, and go through all of that. There's something to be said about this game's story, even though you ultimately know the fate of Peter Parker and Dr. Octavius going into it. Once it happens, it's just as impactful as if you went into it blind. Now that is great storytelling. Persona 5 Royal by Atlus. This game takes place in present-day Tokyo, Japan, and revolves around a cast of characters with the main character named Akira Kurusu, as mentioned in the manga adaptation, or simply put, Joker. Akira's story begins with him transferring high schools as he was accused of a crime that he didn't commit and is placed on probation. Throughout the course of this year, he and several other students discover a special power that awakens their personas, and with that causes them to become a group of vigilantes known as the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. With their newly awakened powers, they will explore an undiscovered world, also known as the Metaverse. What exactly is this place and what's going on within it? Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to play to find out. Persona 5R was met with critical acclaim over its visuals, artwork, music, story, and most importantly, gameplay. If you're looking for one of the best JRPGs on the PlayStation 4 family of systems, look no further than Persona 5 Royal.
You took everything from us! back. Go for it!
Ratchet & Clank by Insomniac Games. When it comes to classic PlayStation 2 platformers, one has certainly stood the test of time. Ratchet & Clank's only adventure on the PlayStation 4 was a reimagining of the original title that started it all way back in 2002 on PlayStation 2. While this reimagining is missing levels, and while the story has been heavily altered compared to its PlayStation 2 counterpart, it's still a fantastic game to play through at least once, and gave many players a taste of what may in store for the next generation of platforming titles, including Ratchet & Clank's own future. Tearaway Unfolded by Media Molecule. Before the release of Dreams, Media Molecule had ported a PlayStation Vita classic to the PlayStation 4 and enhanced it to take advantage of the added horsepower that the home console provided. The result was Tearaway Unfolded. While it is by and large the same game as its PlayStation Vita counterpart, it does have one noteworthy feature: the addition of Atwa, a female protagonist. The most beautiful aspect about this game is the fact that everything in the world, from the characters to the environments, is made entirely out of paper, and seeing it all interact and come together truly is a sight to behold. While this game didn't sell well on the PlayStation Vita, I believe firmly in the fact that it has something to do with the fact that the Vita was a failure from a hardware perspective and sales perspective, rather than the uniqueness of this particular title. And had it been marketed properly, I feel like more people would have been made aware of Tearaway's presence on PlayStation 4. The Last of Us Part 2 by Naughty Dog. Here's one that can be very divisive. Naughty Dog's long-awaited sequel to the PlayStation 3 masterpiece got very mixed reception. From a gameplay and mechanics perspective, the game certainly improved on the controls and handling and introduced new, best-in-class accessibility modes for those with certain disabilities, which is truly a sight to behold once you see them in action. As for the story, that's where the game splits the audience into two separate camps. You either like it, or you don't. It was worth the wait, or it was a waste of time. Regardless of its perceived shortcomings, this game is a beautiful spectacle in the graphics department, and is probably one of, if not the best looking games on the PlayStation 4 platform, according to many critics and users. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. The final chapter in Nathan Drake's long series of adventures spanning from PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita was finally released in 2016, much to both critical and fan acclaim. Uncharted 4 sends Nathan Drake off on an extremely high note, bringing some of the best graphics and storytelling by Naughty Dog up to that game's respective time, and introduces new characters as well as returning ones from previous titles in a finale that, frankly, is one of the best in any game series' history.
Right here. There's gotta be another way. I need you on this one.
Uncharted: Lost Legacy. While Nathan Drake's story with Uncharted finally came to its close in the previous title, there are plenty of characters from that franchise with plenty of adventure left in them. And Lost Legacy tells one of the tales from Chloe Fraser that takes place in India as she enlists in the help of characters from previous games to assist her. While it may not be a full-size, fully fleshed out Uncharted game, what's here is fantastic and shows that Uncharted still has plenty of stories left to tell, even without Nathan Drake.
And some guns.
Sorry, mate. What took you so long?
Wipeout Omega Collection. Wipeout has been around for almost as long as PlayStation has, and there is no better way to play any Wipeout game than the Omega Collection. Showing off beautiful dynamic 4K visuals at 60 frames a second makes it the most beautiful Wipeout game ever made. Not to mention the PlayStation VR capabilities that this game comes with. If this game does anything, it tells us that we need more Wipeout games, especially once PlayStation 5 launches. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. What were some of the games that helped define the PlayStation 4 for you personally? I'd love to read them down there in the comment section below. As always, thank you guys for spending this time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care. Hi. If you've made it to this point in the video, please feel free to rate it however you see fit, and if you're new to the channel, hit the bell and the subscribe button to be notified when I upload new videos. If you're interested as well, feel free to join my Discord chat to talk with me and my subscribers about anything related to gaming. The link can be found below in the description. Until then, I'll see you around. Bye-bye.